Hi, this is Mark Graben. This is episode 12 of Lean Blog Audio. To read this post, you can go to leanblog.org/audio12. Today's post is looking back at the Toyota Tsutsumi plant tour, part 2. Part 1 of this discussion was back in episode 11 of this podcast. You can go to leanblog.org/audio11, or you can go and subscribe to these podcasts by going to leanblog.org/audio. So the first topic is the importance of breaks. Healthcare professionals know that nurses and other hospital employees don't get enough breaks during the day, yet alone time to eat a proper meal. Fatigue leads to bad service and, even worse, mistakes and errors that harm patients. We saw at the Toyota plant in Japan that Toyota's production associates there get a 10-minute break every 2 hours in the first half of their shift. Then they get a lunch break. These break areas are conveniently located right next to the assembly line to minimize the time not spent resting. During our tour, a break occurred, and it got nearly silent in the plant. It was it was almost spooky, because equipment was shut down to save energy, I presume. Now, granted, it's easier for Toyota to plan breaks and to choose to stop producing for a period of time than it is for a hospital. Patients are always there at a hospital. They need care. But that said, I think hospitals can figure out how to schedule staff to allow them to take breaks, some to take breaks, while others maintain care. Now, I realize this requires handoffs, and maybe we need to get better at doing handoffs if that's a barrier to giving people breaks. Now, after lunch at Toyota, they give team members a 10-minute break every 90 minutes, more frequently than before lunch, where, again, the breaks were every 2 hours. Well, why do they do this? Is it because Toyota's generous? Well, no, it's because they know people get more fatigued toward the end of a shift. And, the healthcare visitors in our group were impressed with the care and attention that was placed on preventing fatigue and defects or other problems. It's respectful to provide appropriate breaks, and it's smart business as it leads to better safety and quality, among other benefits. Now, as with the San Antonio tours, and now we're going to talk about andon cords and buttons, the visitors were impressed with the support that's provided to employees through what's called the andon system. Now, our tour guide described that when team members are falling behind or have any problem, it should be immediately identified by activating the andon system. And I wrote a post back in 2012 about andon cords and Toyota's culture. If you go to leanblog.org/audio12, you can find a link and read that. As we saw during our visit, a team leader comes immediately after the chimes sound and the andon board indicates where the problem is and who needs help. The team leaders and team members wore baseball caps in that plant, which is interesting, compared to wearing hard hats in San Antonio. But as I wrote about last year, Toyota is switching from the traditional andon cord that hangs above the line to yellow push buttons in many cases. Here at this plant, they had buttons that rolled along with the team members on their parts cart as they moved with the moving assembly line. The cart moves along with them. The button seems like a very convenient mechanism for the team member to call for help. In the final inspection area, they did have traditional andon cords since there are no parts carts moving along. And the key principles that are consistent are to allow people to ask for help and then to respond immediately with support, troubleshooting, and problem solving as needed. There's a short video embedded in the post if you'd like to go see and hear a little bit about how Toyota describes their andon system. Here's that audio.
And pulls the call switch beside the production line. A chime sounds, and the number 26 on the andon lights up in yellow to inform the team leader that there's a problem at number 26 workstation. The team leader proceeds immediately to the site to investigate the situation and provide assistance. If the problem is solved within the prescribed section of the line, the team leader pulls the rope again. This turns the yellow light on the andon off, letting all production workers know that the line is returned to normal.
So back to final inspection areas. So yeah, there's a final inspection area in Toyota plants. You might think, what? I thought they built in quality. Well, that's their goal. But they realize that today, in these circumstances right now, having final inspection is better than not having inspection. The ideal is built-in quality, but today's goal requires doing everything possible to protect customers from defects, putting the customer first. So inspection is not ideal, but it's better than letting defects go on to the customer. And I'm sure their final inspection process gives feedback to upstream processes to try to prevent future errors. That's, I think, a very important lean principle. I think the key question is, how can healthcare apply these principles of an andon system? Virginia Mason Medical Center has done a lot of great work with what they call a patient safety alert system, and I think that's worth looking into. Final topic here is 4S and workplace organization. So that's right, I said 4S. In the lean community, people often debate or argue about using the term 5S, which is the more common term, the one that I've preferred, or 6S, which adds safety as another S. Now, I'm all in favor of safety, of course, but I think safety should really be the foundation for everything we do. The Tsutsumi plant, like the San Antonio plant, has a green safety arch that everyone walks through when entering the plant. Now, it's symbolic, but it says something like, safety is the door through which all work enters, or something like that. Safety isn't just an S to tack on to another approach or method like 5S. But Toyota is actually calling it 4S. And those 4 S's are sort, set, shine, and standardize. Our tour guide was asked about the 5th S, sustain, and she said something to the effect that, well, it's assumed that it will be sustained. And I think that probably means that the leaders at all levels work to ensure that sustainment. Now, I know the healthcare leaders, nurses, and physicians in our group realize that there are many great lessons to take away from a visit to Toyota, and the same has been true here in San Antonio. So I'd encourage you, even if you don't go all the way to Japan, if you can go to Kentucky, to Cambridge, Ontario, to Georgetown, Kentucky, there are a lot of great opportunities to learn about lean and to see it firsthand and then talk about it and bring those lessons home.
Sponsored by KaiNexus, providing web-based software to manage improvement and innovation for businesses who dream of a better world. Learn more at www.makeimprovementhappen.com.